Blockchain is by far one of the best industries for people to start their developer career in. It's one of the highest paying fields in tech with an insane upside potential over the long term. And it's entirely possible for people with relatively little experience to earn six-figure salaries. And in this video, I want to talk about exactly how to do that, how to land a blockchain job, your first blockchain job, and make six figures by actually interviewing somebody who just did that. I'm going to invite a guest onto the channel today, Pavan, who landed a six-figure blockchain developer job in Silicon Valley. And we're going to talk to him and actually break down exactly how he did it, hear his story so that you can get some ideas on how to accomplish this goal yourself. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. So I'm super excited to have Pavan on the channel today because, Pavan is somebody who has broken into the blockchain industry, landed their first six-figure blockchain developer job in Silicon Valley, and was basically a beginner before he did this. And so I really want to dive into Pavan's story here, and talk about all the really critical parts of it and try to reverse engineer this because there's tons of people watching this channel. They're going to try to be doing the exact same thing. And I really want to bring Pavan on here today to help you all figure out, how you can blaze a trail and see what he did right so that you can put a plan together for yourself. So welcome, Pavan.
Thank you, Gregory. I'm very honored and privileged to be on your show today. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited to share this. Pavan's been a super active member in the blockchain mastery community. We did a members only stream in there a couple weeks ago. And, he talked about this. I was like, man, we got to get this guy on YouTube because this is something that's going to really inspire a lot of people and hopefully help them accomplish their goals too. So I want to dig into this. All right. So you're working a job in Silicon Valley now, right?
Yes. It's actually in Palo Alto, California. However, I am working remotely because of COVID. I'm based out of Los Angeles. So I have the privilege of working from home. But the corporate headquarters is in Palo Alto, California.
That's awesome. And, you mentioned your compensation before, you weren't shy about that. So I don't think you're going to mind me asking, what's your compensation right now?
Right now, so it's a mixture of cash and stock options. So I'm making $108,000 a year in cash, and I have $32,000 in stock options for a total of $140,000 a year.
Yeah, not too bad for a beginner.
Yeah, very good. I mean, coming from a systems administrator background, making $60,000, that's an $80,000 jump for something that I'm still learning as I go along anyway. So
yeah, and that's what I really want to drill into. So what I really try to stress on this channel is that there's really nothing that can truly prepare you for the workplace quite like being in the workplace. And that's okay. And in terms of being a real world blockchain developer, but you got to get close. You got to get good enough. And then you got to get to that point where you can get paid to learn after that, because everybody in their programming career gets on that path of self-learning. And if you start that path before you get that job and then can just get your foot in the door, man, you're just totally set. And that's exactly what Pavan did. He's living proof of this. He reached out to me. So let's talk about that journey. So you talked about had a little bit of a system administration background. So you got a little bit of a head start for people who have zero technical knowledge. But I mean, you wouldn't have called yourself anything close to a blockchain developer, right?
No, not by a stretch. Pretty much, I was more into Bitcoin as an investment just to make a quick dollar here and there. And then I wondered, well, let me see how this works under the hood. And I went on YouTube. I came across your page and your channel, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Subscribe to it. And I like the way how you have your videos set up like mini Udemy courses per se. But to me, I don't feel that they give you the full breadth of things like the Blockchain Mastery University does. Right. It just gives you a taste or an interest of how things are done. And the blockchain space is so widespread. You have NFTs, you have DeFi, you have yield farming, you have staking, you have proof of work, it's just a lot of things to digest. But I feel that if you take the time, and it don't even have to be a lot of time, Gregory, it could be 2 hours a day just to pound it, learn how things work, and just code something simple like a simple token, see how it works when you put it on a test net. And you won't believe how amazing you'll feel when you tell your friends, look, I got my own token. It's not on a production environment, but it's on a test net, and people like that. They just like it. It's something that interests them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's awesome when you get out there and you send it to somebody's wallet, even on test network. I got my own cryptocurrency. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, let's drill down to that. You kind of stumbled upon YouTube. You kind of went down the cryptocurrency rabbit hole that got you interested in the development side of things. That's basically what happened to me too. You know what I mean? A lot of people have the same story. Cryptocurrencies draw them in, and then they find with the technology if they're technically inclined, and then or maybe even not, and then they think that the tech has a staying power. So you did that, you did some of the free courses like the Udemy stuff, but you're like, hey, this is cool. This is just getting my feet wet. I want something more. You jumped inside the mastery program. Had a little camera malfunction here. So there you go. Jumps on the mastery program and, 100%. That's where we try to do a lot of the real deep dive stuff for like real world projects, trading bots, real world NFTs, all that type of stuff. And you were saying that was instrumental to you sort of getting that real world experience that you needed to add to your portfolio so that people could say, hey, look what this guy can do.
Exactly. It's one thing to if you invest in the blockchain mastery university and you learn how to build these trading bots or NFTs or even ERC20 tokens or ERC 721 tokens, you could put those on your GitHub repository like I did, and you just start applying and applying and applying. And I'll tell you, Gregory, I was applying and I kept getting no, you don't have enough experience, but you will get that one person that may be interested. And if you can explain to them how it works, they may not be that much interested in the code, but just how it works. And if you can show them how it works, then they'll consider you. Like I said, I've been at my job for about almost a year now, and I'm still learning things, even to this day. I am by no way a blockchain expert. I would like to be, but it's a learning path. And at least I found a company that is invested in me to push things through, and I'll be more than happy to discuss some of the projects if we have time.
Yeah, totally. I definitely want to get into all that. But a couple of things I want to pick out from what you just said there is getting that one yes. And, there's going to be a lot of people who, they think I'm just not ready to start applying for jobs. You know what I mean? Like nobody's going to hire me. Oh, this, that, the other. And there's so much self-doubt. What I always tell people is like, here's the remove the judgment calls. Here's when you need to start applying for jobs. Go get your feet wet, do some, basic tutorials just to figure out how stuff works, then go build something more advanced, with the mastery program, whatever it is, right? Like you're talking about. And then from there, either use that exact thing for your portfolio or go build something unguided for your portfolio. And as soon as you have that out there in the open, start applying, because you're going to get, you're going to get feedback. And then also you might get some yeses. And it's, when you're at that phase, you have to get somebody to take a chance on you. And so how do you increase the likelihood somebody's going to do that? You apply to as many places as possible. And that's exactly what you did.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and like I said, if you're thinking that, I need to wait until I become an expert, it will never happen, because the blockchain landscape changes at the snap of like that.
Right.
So you will never catch up to it. The only thing that you can do is just learn as much as you can, get that job that's paying six figures. And you know what? These companies know the value of a blockchain developer. They're going to offer you at least a six-figure job if they believe in you and if they see that you have what it takes. And you will learn on the job. They won't let you go. I've been on my job for almost a year, like I said, and I'm still learning. Like some things I don't even know Solidity 100%, but I know enough to at least do things and Google things. And it's just the Blockchain Mastery University has given me personally that confidence to go out there and make it happen. And I was just so happy when there was a company that did say yes. And I'm happy where I'm at right now. I'm due up for a raise in July of this year, so I'm really anticipating that. So, but yeah, it's a great learning experience, and I encourage anybody watching this video to apply, even if you do not have the knowledge 100%, or you feel a little bit slighted. Just apply and learn on a job, and that's what the Blockchain Mastery University specializes in. They want you to apply, and just get a six-figure job.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, you said something in there like, don't wait around and become an expert, because that's never going to happen. And it's kind of a paradox, because the only way you're going to become an expert is through on-the-job experience, most likely. And so you just have to get to that point where someone's going to take a chance on you. And that's how you actually gain that expertise is in the battlefield. Unless you decide to go out and just build your app on your own, you know what I mean? That's a lot harder road than just getting a job somewhere. In terms of like getting that and getting a bunch of users and all that type of stuff. But yeah, that's the path to true expertise for most people.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk about the tech stack a little bit. I've really been very intentional about the technology that we've been laser focused on this channel. In terms of Solidity track, that I started off doing Solidity when Ethereum was pretty much the only smart contract platform out there. We had some early hyperledgers. We had some private permissions, like kind of forks and stuff like that. But now we've got, all these different layer ones that are EVM compatible. And so even with that expansion, like that's even made Solidity stronger, because even if you can develop for Ethereum, you can develop for all these other things. There's so much demand for Solidity, and it's made the Solidity development demand absolutely explode. You told me a little bit off camera about your what you're doing now, but tell me, just I guess out of your own mouth, how do you feel about like the sort of the track that you've gone down with the stuff at Dapp University, and how has it prepared you?
Okay, so the one thing that Dapp University has prepared me is by teaching me just the basics of Solidity. That's one thing that you have to learn, because Ethereum, people talk a lot of stuff about Ethereum is going to go away. No, it won't. Ethereum is going to always be there. It's impossible. If Ethereum goes away, the rest of the whole DeFi and token industry will collapse along with it. So Ethereum may have expensive gas fees, but it's not going anywhere. Right. Learning Solidity as a primary language to program smart contracts on the EVM is an absolute must. And with all of the other blockchains that are scaling to beat Ethereum with higher transactions, lower fees, like much higher TPSs, you can actually build on top of those blockchains and offer your end user a quicker way to process their transactions. But keep in mind that they're compatible with the EVM, and you have to learn Solidity. Right. One of my stacks that I love using is Truffle and Ganache. I've heard about Hard Hat. I'm still learning it, but I love Ganache because it can spin up a blockchain very quickly, and you teach that in a university degree. And also, I like using the Robston testnet to test all of my smart contracts before I send them to production. Robston actually mimics the Ethereum environment the best out of all of them. Contrary to what many people say, I still think that it mimics it a lot. And MetaMask, just go to a testnet faucet, get some test ether, fill it up in your MetaMask, and you can use that to pay for your contracts. You can even verify your contracts through Truffle without even going to Etherscan. I found that out 3 weeks ago. So that's another proof that I'm still learning on the job, because I didn't even know that you can use Truffle on the back end to verify a contract. Yeah,
the Etherscan verify plugin.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Solidity is an absolute must. And anything that you build with a smart contract, you have to learn that. Yeah, they have Viper out and things like that, and they have Serpent for Python, but Solidity is the one that everyone uses. So you stress that, and I'm going to enforce it. Learn Solidity. It will get you far. Just learn the basics. So
and but you're also seeing that with the other jobs that you interviewed at, not just where you're working now, right? Pretty strong Solidity developer demand.
Oh yeah, yes. If you apply for any job in blockchain now, they're looking for smart contract developers. I can almost guarantee you, somewhere in that job description, they're going to say that you have to know Solidity and or the Ethereum virtual machine. They're not saying, or you have to learn just Polygon, or you have to learn Aurora, or you have to learn Binance. They're stressing Ethereum and or Solidity. So it would be in your best interest to learn those.
Yeah, totally. So I want to have a quick question, like a couple more quick questions. One, we didn't really get to talk about. We chatted briefly offline before the video here, but tell me about the order of operations here. When you were kind of learning for blockchain, did you really start with Solidity, or did you try to like kind of ease your way in and then like learn Solidity and reference to something else, or did you just start there?
I just eased my way in.
Okay.
Like I just started doing. I was messing up so much on Solidity to the point where at one point I was like, maybe this isn't for me. I'll go back to being a sysadmin. At least I know Linux and the command line. But then I'm like, but wait, I love blockchain, so let me just give it a chance because Solidity is statically typed, so you have to declare the type of variable before you declare the actual variable. And I'm like, oh, this is almost like JavaScript, and I hate JavaScript. You know, me personally, I hate it, but I gave myself the time and to learn it because I understand this is something that you have to do, and your course makes it easy because it makes it almost fun. Like, oh, I want to build an NFT, or oh, I want to learn how to build a DeFi bank and things like that. It just makes you feel empowered in a way to walk around and say, I built a bank on a blockchain that does deposits, withdrawals, staking, and things like that. And it's kind of like an ease in that you have to do, but it is a requirement for almost any job that's blockchain related.
Well, that's good though to hear that you kind of got in, maybe had a little bit of initial discouragement and said, oh, this is not for me, but then you stuck with it, right? Everybody's going to get that whenever they get into programming. And I'm really glad that you said that because, I forget to even stress this. I've seen some highly, highly intelligent people try to get into programming in general and then just bounce because it's too hard, Yeah. So for me, it always comes down to litmus test of, is it interest you enough to like go through the hard part? You know what I mean? And just be patient and stick with it and be like, oh, this is rewarding. I did build a bank on a blockchain. I did do this. I did do that. And you get that feedback and that kind of compounds and you get those wins. And that kind of is what carries you over the finish line. Exactly.
And then also I would say a lot of the stuff is already built for you. So I wouldn't even reinvent the wheel. I would just like the import function is very important because you can import other contracts. Like I said earlier, I use OpenZeppelin a lot when developing tokens because they've been battle tested for security. So it's like, why would you try and develop your own token from scratch when these people over here have already not only developed the contracts, they've battle tested it and they want you to use it. Like they don't want you to develop your own smart contract where it can get hacked because maybe you have a message sender function that you didn't make immutable and you left the owner address open so an attacker can go in and find a loophole and replace your address with his. It's just stuff like that, and OpenZeppelin is something that I keep in my back pocket, honestly, because my whole point is don't reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of open source tools out there that will make your development of a token or anything in Solidity a lot easier. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. I think there could be definitely something you said, like when you're just starting from scratch, sometimes like building something from the ground up can help you learn. I mean, like if you build an ERC20 step by step, that's great, but just do it once, right? Then after that, go take stuff off the shelf. Yeah, and I agree with you on that because that's another point. I wouldn't recommend to just importing things and just deploying it. Learn how it works. Learn what does this function do? Why is this mapping here? What is this struct and what does it does? Like at least learn it before you just say, okay, I'm just going to sit back and just employ just contracts from all over the place and just deploy it and test it. No, just learn how the contract works and study it. And I think that will give you a better understanding when it's time to explain to the interviewer why you created that. Like, oh, well, this does this. This tells me that, like, for example, if you're building a deflationary token, you can say this line here tells how much goes to the liquidity pool. This line here tells how much goes back to the stakers who stake their coins in the blockchain. And this one here goes for a burning rate so it's a tax. Well, why would you have a deflationary token? Well, because I want to prevent whales from buying up all of my supply. It could be any reason, but at least you're explaining it to them. So they're like, so they know that, oh, he knows what he's talking about. At least he knows what these things do in his smart contract. Yeah, you can talk the talk. Exactly, and back it up. So yes, learn how the variables and the functions work in Solidity and then start building something like you said. Yeah. So I want to get into a couple really practical tips for people who are trying to accomplish similar results to what you did here, Pavan. So I want to ask a couple quick, really like pointed questions, and then we can maybe get into the details. So you did some sort of portfolio, right? When you were applying, you did a project, you put it out there. Did you use a website? How'd that work? Oh, I just put it on my GitHub. and that's it.
That's all you needed.
Put on my GitHub, and my resume just has my GitHub link. To be honest, Gregory, I don't even have a website. I just don't.
Hey, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I don't have a website at all.
More power to you.
I just put the project on my GitHub, and I just use that as my selling point. And it was awesome. And I was able to explain it. And people, actually, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn about the job. I didn't even apply to the job. I was applying to other ones, but then someone reached out to me because I was talking about blockchain a lot and about, this does this and this does this. And someone reached out to me and said, hey, I have a position open that I think that you'll be a good fit for. And to this day, Gregory, if you look at my LinkedIn and I can verify it, I still receive job offers for blockchain developer. And I'm like, I'm not even an expert at it. I'm still learning this stuff, but my inbox is flooded. Oh, would you like to work with this? We're a new DeFi company that does this, and your profile is a great fit. I think that you'll be great at this job. And it's like, it's really good. That university has opened that door for me to make me feel comfortable now that if, God forbid, something happens with this job, I can easily walk into another job and command the same salary that this job was paying.
That's awesome. And so you say you were discussing it on LinkedIn, or were you just like, so how did the LinkedIn league come in? Did they just email you?
Yeah, it was just something simple. Like I would like post a simple thing like, oh, I don't know why this variable is doing this in Solidity. I thought that it was right. And I would have a screenshot of it. Can someone help me? And you'll get a whole flood of people saying, oh, well, maybe you're declaring it wrong and things like this. You're making an assigned integer instead of an unsigned integer. Change this to UINT. Oh, okay. Maybe you're making something public and it's not supposed to be public. Like just simple stuff like that. And it was tripping me up. And I was like, wait, why is this not deploying? I don't understand. I was Googling. I'm like, well, maybe someone on LinkedIn or Stack Overflow will help me. And I guess that post got traction, and I make posts like those, and people get wind of it like, oh, he's trying to learn blockchain development and things like that. And one guy just reached out to me and said, I think you'll be a great fit for this. And I just applied and went on an interview, and that was it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And so that's another thing. So, you got your results in maybe in a different fashion than what I typically talk about a lot on my channel, but it's still a way that I have talked about quite a bit. It's just not my go-to strategy. My go-to strategy is basically get a website, get a portfolio, do all this stuff, and then like start applying to as many places as possible. That's the most likely for most people because it's pretty cut and dry. But, you didn't even have to do that much, which at the end of the day, like, sometimes it's just easier than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would actually recommend that. And I wish I would have taken that path. I would say I just got lucky because if you do have a website, if you do have a portfolio, it will get your foot in the door a lot quicker. Me personally, I was applying with just a project on GitHub and just posting stuff. I was just applying. But if you do have that portfolio and that website that you discussed, it definitely will get your foot in the door a lot easier and a lot quicker than my route, which it was a learning route for me.
Yeah. There's no wrong way as long as it works. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But this strategy I talk about most often on my channel is sort of like if you don't know what to do, this is probably going to work. So the other thing I want to talk about is actually getting out there and getting visible another way, which is a strategy to talk about some, not quite as often because it kind of takes a little more work. But it's different. It's getting out there and posting in groups where other people are looking. I did talk about this about going to meetups, right? And then sometimes people will just say we're hiring and you can talk to people, but you can do this also online. Go to the watering holes where they're developers. There's going to be eyeballs in those groups who need developers and they see people trying to figure this out. That's exactly what happened with you.
Yes, I not gonna vouch for that because, like I said, I was just going through Stack Overflow, LinkedIn. LinkedIn was the main hub, but I was on Monster and Glassdoor even applying, and I just kept getting rejection after rejection after rejection, and I didn't quit. But I think that if I would have had that website and that portfolio built, I think it would have been a lot easier for me. I'm just not really a front end guy. Like, but it's something that I love doing, Gregory, like developing on the back end, the logic of the blockchain and typing a smart contract. And I know I have to learn React and stuff, and that's why I am still enrolled in your university because you do teach front end development to connect the back end and the front end together. And that's great because I am going to dive into that right now in my free time, because I know that to become a successful blockchain developer, like super successful, you do need to learn how to have a front end that talks to the back end. So I need to get up and running on that end.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Well, I think we've jumped into a lot of the really important stuff here that's hopefully going to be a ton of value for people who are watching this, trying to do the same thing as Pavan. This has been a super inspiring story. I'm glad we could do this. Before we wrap up here today, is there any like last minute stuff that you're like, hey guys, this is fresh on my mind. I'm still relatively new to this space. Something that you would just say, you all have to know this before we wrap up today.
Yes. Don't quit doing what you're doing. Keep learning. You will come across some obstacles, but if you persist, there's a gang of people out there to help you. Just go on Stack Overflow, but don't say, oh, this isn't for me, because you're missing out on an industry that is blowing up. Many people years ago looked at cryptocurrency as a fad or something that's going to blow over. And now you have like big companies like Goldman Sachs that want to invest in Bitcoin, and these companies, so they want to do Bitcoin IRAs. It's an industry that's here to stay, and it's still in its infancy. So no, you are not late. You're actually a lot early before it becomes mainstream. So keep doing it. Don't give up, and apply. That's the second thing. Apply. Somebody out there, whether it's a startup, like the company I work for is a startup, but if you can get a job at a well-known company, that's fine, but just apply. Because a lot of these places will hire you if you know a little bit, Don't feel like you have to master Solidity to become an expert or whiz and then say, let me apply. Because guess what? Solidity updates a lot, and a lot of things get replaced. So just keep applying. Those are my two things that I would do, is just apply and don't give up.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that's golden advice. Well, thanks a bunch for coming on, Pavan. This was great. As everybody, yeah, thank you, man. Everybody, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button down below. That really helps these videos out. Yeah, smash it.
No, seriously, it's worth it. Whenever I subscribe, that was the end of it. Like, your videos are great. Just so please subscribe and click that like button to get and tap on that bell icon so that you can get notified when Gregory does put out his videos, because trust me, they will be helpful. I still watch your videos even to this day and learn something new.
That's awesome, man. So follow Pavan's lead on that one. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as both of us are, you want to get your hands dirty, you jump in just like Pavan's talking about. We've got those free videos on my YouTube homepage. They're like Udemy courses, perfect place to dip your toes in. But if you want to take the next step and really cut the learning curve, master blockchain step by step from start to finish, then definitely head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. It's the best way to master blockchain start to finish, land that highly paid blockchain developer job. So that's all we got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.